It's Grow the Heck Up.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy John Key.
What's poppin', man? It's your brother Illuminate, a.k.a. the Blessed Coast Secret, man.
Yo, what's going on? This is Ruslan from King's Dream Entertainment.
What it do, what it is, it's your man Triple D, a.k.a. Dayton, representing God over money in the Menace movement. And you're now tuned in to CHH Today Sports. Yeah.
Antonio Brown to the Raiders, NBA MVP, the Golden State Warriors, and some Major League Baseball. Just a few of the things that Towles and I got to talk about on the Seek1st and Towles podcast. Greetings once again to the four corners of the earth. Coach Harv here with my man Towles. Seek1st and Towles. What's good, Towles?
What's going on, brother?
Hey, man, quite a bit this week, as usual, in the sports world, man. You know how it is. Antonio Brown to the Raiders, man.
Sure. I'm not sure.
You're not sure? My man's on his Instagram doing push-ups and everything with a Raiders hat on. Why not?
Yeah, I'm just not sure. I don't know what the Raiders are doing. You get rid of Amari Cooper. I mean, don't get me wrong. Amari is not AB, but Amari's like 6 years younger than AB. You get rid of Amari Cooper because you say he's not a good fit anymore for the program. Then you put your quarterback on the market. You put him on the market, but you take him off the market because nobody wants to deal with his contract. And then you go and spend 2 draft picks to get AB.
But 2 draft picks, a third and a fifth. And I get it. It's not Madden, how we talk about all the time.
Right.
Third and a fifth is a bargain to me, man.
It is a bargain, but from the Raider standpoint is you had a productive receiver that was 6 years younger than this guy that you were paying less money to, I believe. Why get rid of him and now turn around and bring AB into the picture?
Well, I think at this point you kind of have to, right? No one wanted Carr. Now that he's off the market, you have to put some pieces around him. There has been rumors that they may be in on the Le'Veon Bell sweepstakes as well. We'll see what happens with that. But at some point, whether he's aged or not, you have to put pieces there. Everyone questioned the Amari Cooper trade. Everyone questioned the what's the kid in Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack, that's another one.
But he had to get his own guys in there. And I don't know what his relationship with AB is like, but at the end of the day, they need to get somebody else in there. They need to put someone around Carr, and he's a playmaker. He may not be Amari Cooper. He may be aged, but I think he still has a few years left. But one thing some people are saying, that's where some wide receivers go to die to play for the Raiders.
Well, here's the thing, though. Yeah, you want the field AB. If you could just get to the point where you can get AB just to come play football, you're good.
Right.
But you can't exempt him like that. He has to come into your locker room. That's where it starts getting bananas. Nobody complains about AB's play on the field. Every once in a while, Big Ben complained about him running routes, right? And he's probably been complaining about that for a little while. It just became public last season. Nobody complains about him on the field. It's the intangibles they complain about. Like, this guy is bad for a locker room. When you hear that from multiple places, it can't all be fabricated. Some of it has to be true.
And I'm sure that it probably is. You hope that someone that's been around the game as long as Gruden has will be able to handle that, at least in a measure. I mean, AB is going to be AB. I think that that everyone knows that. I think they're probably going to have to get used to his locker room presence or the lack thereof, I should say. However he is in the locker room, at this point, it looks like he's going to be their main wide receiver. And I'm sure, I don't know, maybe a phone call gets made to Big Ben from Carr to figure out how to deal with him, man. You never know.
Maybe. Maybe for AB, maybe.
I know that's something that we're definitely going to be watching pretty close, man, because when I first saw it, I mean, I was over here hoping he came to San Francisco, to tell you the truth, because I think it was him and Earl Thomas were rumored to be tied to San Francisco. It ended up being the other side of the bay. Like you said, we'll see what happens with that one. I think it's pretty interesting. I want to see what else they're going to do. What are the pieces? They have the draft picks now. What are they going to do in the drafts? How are they going to build this team? Because they're in a brand new city right now, too, in Las Vegas. So they have to put a product on the field.
Well, I think this is their last year in Oakland. Or do they move to Oakland? Do they move to Vegas? I think they moved to Vegas in 2020.
2020, okay.
Yeah, I think they have one more year, the 2019-2020 season there in Oakland, and I think they moved to Vegas 2020 to 2021.
Wow. So, hey, that does definitely make you think then, man, because he is, if I'm not mistaken, 31 years old now. So he definitely has some miles on him, bro.
Yeah. He might end up like LeBron, being on the outside of the playoffs again this year.
Right.
Because, unless they're making some significant improvements, they're probably in the best division in football.
It's a good one, man. Kansas City.
Chiefs,
yeah.
The Chargers, and I expect Denver. I expect Denver to play a lot better this year.
Yeah, they might be on the bottom of that division, looking up at the other teams, man.
Right.
Well, you mentioned LeBron, man. Shifting to the NBA first. Let's start there because you did hop on CHHTS live earlier this week talking about my man LeBron James. And you know I'm a LeBron fan too, man. But did you say that he's having an MVP type season for the
Okay. So here's what I said, because I heard this from somebody yesterday. Somebody I walked up to somebody I met on the street yesterday, and they said they saw me on the CHH today link, and they were like, "Are you kidding me? LeBron's having an MVP?" I said, no. That's not here's what I meant. And I think I said this, is that if we're saying Giannis is the MVP, if that's what we're saying, the best
record in the league,
right? Best player on the best team in the league right now, based on a record. If we're saying Giannis is the MVP, well, when I put LeBron's numbers next to Giannis's numbers, they look the same.
Yeah, they look almost identical.
They look like the same player, right? Giannis obviously has the lead or the advantage on the rebounding end. LeBron and on the blocks. LeBron has the advantage on the assist end, but points are the same, steals are roughly the same. Everything else is roughly, shooting percentage is roughly the same, right? So my thing is, everybody's been like bad mouthing LeBron because LA hasn't done anything and their record is terrible. But if Giannis is the MVP, the consensus MVP this year, then LeBron is having an MVP type year. He solidified this to me, in my opinion, the day after that video, because he goes out against Boston, a very good team, one of the East's best teams, and in 28 minutes, he puts up a triple-double with nobody around him. Ingram is hurt, Ball is hurt, or they're pretending to be hurt, one of the two. Right? Kuzma didn't play, Hart played hurt, right? He did that, and Boston knew, think about this for a second, Boston knew the only legit threat they have against them tonight was LeBron. So They could have put all of their forces together to stop him, and he still walked away with a triple-double. And now I'm not talking about 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. He ended up with 30 points, which means they knew he was coming, and they still could not stop him.
Hey, I think just like with Shaq, LeBron's the same, man. You know he's coming. He's gonna put up numbers, man. I thought it interesting that you made the correlation and saying it was an MVP type year, because I don't think hardly anybody agrees with that, including myself. He's always going to put up numbers. He's going to put up points. He's going to get rebounds. We know he's going to distribute the basketball, but MVP on that team? Nah, I don't think so. And I know you're not saying, because we can transition into that right now, that the MVP talks, but I'm pretty sure no one's putting him on their top 5 on that list.
They'd be mistaken, because here's the thing. He wouldn't be top 3, because I think top 3 as we transition is probably Giannis, Harden. Honestly, I'd probably have to say Paul George.
Yeah, he's having a good year.
Yeah, I mean, even though he's been out for a few games, Paul George, and then now 4 and 5, the Golden State crew cancels each other out. So
Yeah,
KD
absolutely.
and Curry can't be considered. They cancel each other out. So who's your 4 and 5? Westbrook and then LeBron. LeBron is still playing this season. We're just not yet. Here's the thing. We're used to him putting up these numbers and winning because he had a better team around him. We're
I
not.
think you forgot someone, man. Can we get Kawhi on that list?
No, I think Kawhi is hit or miss because Kawhi has probably missed as many games as LeBron has over the course of the season. And Kawhi's numbers don't look like LeBron's numbers.
I mean, they don't look like LeBron's numbers, but their team sits at number 2 in the league, if I'm not mistaken, right?
And that's the thing, all of these people that we're talking about, their team is a lot better.
And I agree with that, but I think that plays into the conversation. You're probably, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find years with MVPs on teams outside of the playoffs.
True. But I think what happens and what's happening is because the Lakers are doing so poorly, the NBA fans or basketball fans are used to LeBron taking his team on his shoulders, even if they're mediocre,
Right.
and saying, hey, I'm going to lead you to the playoffs. Now, if this is the East and you take the Lakers record now in the East, they're sitting right outside the 8 spot in the East right now. They're sitting like 2 games out of the 8 spot right now with 16 to go. So they're still in a hunt in the East. But this is the West. It's a different story over here.
It's a completely different story. And it's like, I mean, put it this way. Looking at his team now, is this Lakers team worse than that Cleveland team he was with?
Yes, far worse. Now, yes. Because at least the Cleveland team he had Kevin Love for most of the season. Who's his number 2 over here? Kuzma?
Hey, you're probably it's a flip a coin, man. Toss up.
Depends on the night. Could be Kuzma, it could be Ingram, could be Rondo.
Right, man.
It was a clear number 2 in Cleveland. It was Kevin Love, right? And if I had to put both rosters together against one another, I'd say his next best teammate on either of the 2 teams was Kevin Love. His next best teammate, I'm not talking about points and stuff. His next best teammate that played team would have to be Tristan Thompson, and then Tristan Thompson or Kuzma, and then Ingram. If we had to put it together.
Yeah, it's not a good roster. I'm interested in seeing what they're gonna do because I think it was Jeff Van Gundy came out just a couple of days ago and said that the Lakers are gonna have to maybe even look at entertaining the thought of trading LeBron James to turn that roster over. What are your thoughts on that?
I think if obviously if they traded LeBron, or if they attempted to trade LeBron, then somebody would get fired. Because then because then that would mean there was a failure in upper management somewhere.
Well, I think looking at it right now, I'll say what I don't think that the Lakers fans, I don't think that their front office, I don't think all of basketball thought that they were going to win the West. They were going to be in the top 2 or 3 seeds in the West.
No,
I
by no
don't think
means.
many of them thought that they were going to be on the outside of it. I'm sure some did, but I don't think people thought they were going to be out on the outside of the playoffs looking in, either 6, 7, 8 seed, at least getting in. But, I mean, they're going to be home watching the playoffs, bro.
Right. I think what happened is that start. Nobody expected them to come out the gate the way they came out the gate. Now, granted, shout out to Jared Sanders, as Jared said a few times, that was the weaker part of their schedule, the beginning. Right. So when they came out the gate and at Christmas, they were still number 4. You know, Christmas is like the official start of the second half of the season. You know, the NBA really gets entertaining after Christmas.
Right, it does.
But, by then you got your teammates, you got their flow down, unless there was a trade, you got their flow down, you guys are playing kind of gelling as a team. And all right, which means these guys haven't officially gelled yet, and they're number 4 in the West. in a season where it's looking like Golden State may not, because Golden State at this point is not blowing anybody away right now, right? And you got the upstart Nuggets at a top, and the Clippers at that point were like top 3. So it's like you look at the Clippers roster and like who they got. There's nobody over there, but they in the top 4, right? So I think what that did was it probably accelerated anticipation for this season, when most LeBron and Laker fans had to admit, like, if we get to the playoffs, we're probably gonna make some noise. We're gonna surprise somebody in the first round.
Right, first round. Because that's where I was. I thought they get in. I thought they get through the first round and then get ousted, but I really didn't. Even with the team, because LeBron, as stated, man, wherever he is, he's taking the reins of the team. He's rallied the troops together, and we see some of the stuff that's happened the last couple of weeks. We talked about it a little bit last week, man. It's almost like there's something going on in that locker room as well, on the bench. You know what I mean?
It's probably the difference between and I had to guess just looking at it. It probably has to be the difference between these younger players that could care less about a legend, or why am I not the best player? We kind of see this in Boston too, where it looks like Tatum and those guys are saying, we can win without Kyrie Irving. We did it already. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at the culture, there's always that same issue in the culture now. Where the young cat looks at the OG and says, well, your time was 10 years ago. This is our time now. And I think, and you see that in sports overall, but you're starting to see it more in basketball than any other sport, where the younger players are saying, yeah, you were a champ before. Now
it's our time to shine.
It's our time to shine. So they're not playing the game. And if you notice, LeBron always focuses on, if you play the game the right way, the results will come. He's always said that. And he said that more times this season than I've ever heard him say it in a single season. Which makes me think that the issue is not that they're not talented. It's just that the young guys don't want to play at the pace or contribute the right way as the veterans do.
It's a tough city to be in with that too. I mean, you're talking about a storied franchise that's known for winning. I mean, obviously Shaq, Kobe era just ended. Everyone's kind of looking at this as the LeBron James era, and not off to a great start. And I know you mentioned last week they were trying to get another player in there. I think Paul George fell through. The Anthony Davis thing fell through. And excuse is an excuse, man. But they are gonna have to do something. They're gonna have to add players, because this roster as is probably not gonna go very far.
And see, and LeBron can't be faulted for the roster. That roster decision falls on the general manager and the president of basketball operations and the owner of the team. If the head is not right, if the head isn't unified in regards to the direction of the team, then you're always going to have chaos on the team. You can't have a LeBron James on a team and not give him anybody that can shoot from the outside. Can't do that. What good is a playmaker in this league now without having jump shooters?
Yeah, you have to have them, man. I mean, even think about jump shooters and going to Golden State. I know you mentioned them not really blowing people out like they do, but what are they, 4-6 in their last 10? But I say it all the time, man. We had this conversation last year. It's not playoff time yet. It's the end of the season. It's the little stretch run. I think they're just tuning up for the playoffs, man. It might be a situation where they're getting outplayed. I go back to like last week when Dwayne Wade hit the shot to beat them. It's tough this time of year, because as a fan of basketball, as someone that's watched Golden State the last couple of years, they put up points in bunches, man. And I'm of the opinion they're just in cruise control right now, waiting till the playoff bell hits.
That's dangerous, though, because
for most teams, yes. For them, I don't think so much.
I don't know. Here's why I think it's dangerous. We saw this in baseball a few years ago, right? I think it was the 14 Yankees they still had that all-star team, and they were kind of just going through. It looks like they were going through the motions. After July 4th, they're kind of going through the motions, kind of on the same vibe. Like, all right, we're just waiting for the playoffs. And then that year, if I'm not mistaken, either that year they did not make the playoffs because they got caught, or they lost that one-game playoff series. They ended up being like the 4 or 5 seed, having to play that one-game playoff and got beat. Right? I'm not predicting Golden State getting beat, but what I am saying is at some point you just can't, and you know this, Harv, you play professional sports, you can't turn the lights on. Playoff stars.
But Towles, man, Towles. But Golden State can, bro. And I like the analogy, but I don't like it here just because baseball's a different beast. And I'll just reference my San Francisco Giants, right? When they won those 3 World Series, they were not the best team in baseball. They got hot at the right time. Baseball's that where the Yankees went, where if you could have the best record in the league, if your last 2 to 3 weeks of the season is up and down, you're probably going to get ousted early. It's usually that team that's playing the best the last 2 to 3 weeks of the season. That's why we see wild card teams get all the way to the World Series or right on the brink. But Golden State is just a different monster to me. They're not a team that has one shooter. They're not a team that has 2 shooters. They're full of shooters, man. They put up points like that. Golden State, I think, does have a switch, man. They might be the one team in this generation that does have an on-off switch. And we'll see. But the 4 in the last 10, it doesn't scare me, man, at all.
Yeah, but you know, the conversation scared me, right? When Klay Thompson says, hey, the fans need to give us more energy because we feed off of that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, that first time ever.
Right? First time ever. And then when you hear that now Steve Kerr has to respond because his lips were red in one of the sessions, right? In one of the timeouts, where he says he's sick and tired of Draymond's B. Right?
Yeah.
And now when you start seeing that kind of stuff, right? Because the 86 Bulls, that 6 championship Bulls team, they had turmoil, but the turmoil never was exposed on a bench or on the floor. Now, when you start seeing that turmoil kind of leaking out of the closet a little bit, that's a cause for concern. And the Bulls, some of those guys, based on some of the stories, they hated one another. I mean, Jordan punching Will Purdue in the face and telling him that the name Purdue is not suiting you. They call him something else. I mean, he changed his last name. Like, what?
Right.
Yo, what? That's turmoil. But those guys knew when it was time to play basketball, we put all that away.
Right.
This team, I don't know. KD opened up the year, and I told you this in the beginning of the season. When KD says, I don't think, and the season hadn't even started yet. They were just playing preseason ball. He says, I think the gap between us and the rest of the league has been it has kind of slimmed out. And we're not going to blow teams out like we blew teams out last year.
Hey, there you go.
He already before the season started, though.
but I think that's something that, as been with Golden State for a whole season, right? Going through the playoff runs, you're getting everybody's best every single night. Everyone wants to beat them. And again, it's not like they're at the bottom of the West. It's not like they're at the middle of the West. They're still right up top where they have been for the last 4, 5, 6 years. And I think when I look at that leads me to believe that, yes, you're going to get everyone's best in their playoffs too. But you're getting it down the stretch where you got teams still trying to jockey for position, whether they're in the East or the West, and make sure they're into the playoffs. But it's not the end of the world for this team, even with the talk, because we had, was it Draymond and KD earlier this year? We're getting into it.
Right.
They're still on top of the West, man.
Yeah, well, I don't know. What I saw Friday night just was interesting. Golden State's playing Denver, and I watched the game. That was the one game this week, and I said, "There's no other game. I'm gonna watch this game from the beginning to end." Golden State comes out third quarter, and they have like a 17-point lead. That lead, because Denver goes cold from the perimeter. That lead goes into the fourth quarter. It's about, I don't know, 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They take Draymond Green out of the game. The next time you see Draymond Green, he is on the bench with ice pads on both knees, which virtually means in the NBA, with like a 16-point lead with 3 minutes to go, one of your star players is on the bench with ice on his knees, and he's not hurt. That means the game is over.
Yep.
Right? He's not coming back in. Denver goes like on a 6-0 run. Steve Kerr calls timeout. When it comes back from commercial break, guess who's in the game?
Draymond
Green, right? Which says to me that Steve Kerr was trying to drive a point home to his team and to Sacramento that no matter what you come with, we can beat you. They didn't have to do that in previous seasons. They didn't have to make a statement like that. Steve Kerr somehow felt that his team needed that statement to be made in March, at the end of the season, close to the end of the regular season. Those are the kind of things that I look at and say, well, if he still has to motivate his team now, then he knows that there's a lack of effort or something else going on internally. Because in any other game, any other team with a 16-point lead, even if they did go on a 6-0 run with a minute and change to go, you still keep the same. And the thing is, at that time, Steph, KD, and Clay were still on the floor, which made no sense to me. Because any other team would have taken their stars out with 2 minutes left and a 16-point lead. All of their stars would have been on the bench. The only one he took out was Draymond.
Maybe he was trying to rest me. I think we're going to see, man. I think once the playoffs start, once again, whether you may be reading too much into it, hey, you may be onto something. But I think once the playoffs start, once again, they're going to be the 1 seed. Even if they're the 2, they're going to be atop the West, and you're going to see them flip that switch, and it's going to be the Golden State Warriors all over again. A problem for everybody, man.
We'll see. I mean, because the NBA honestly needs they need, and I hate to say it like this, but they need the fans to say, "Wow, we didn't see that coming." It can't be the same movie all the time because the fans get tired of that. They have to have a wow. So they got their first wow. Yo, LeBron went to the East, went to the West. He's not in the playoffs. Wow.
Right.
That's the first wow. But people kind of expected that to some degree. Many people expected that. But the wow would be, oh wow, Milwaukee and Denver. That's the championship. Wow. Oh, we better watch this.
Did I hear you? Did I hear you? The sneaker. Did I hear you just sneak a prediction of where the finals is?
I'm just using random teams. Honestly, I don't think Denver. I think if one team comes out of the West besides the Golden State, I think it might be Denver or Portland. I don't see any of the other teams coming out of the West. I think those are.
You don't like Houston, huh?
Nah, I don't, because Chris Paul always gets hurt when they have their opponent on the rope. Chris Paul gets hurt. I don't. Not unless you tell me they've somehow figured a way to get Trevor Ariza from Washington, then I'll say, yeah, okay. Because they still need that guy at the 3 that can lock in on defense against Katie, against a Paul George, against somebody like that, somebody on that level at the 3 or at the 2 guard that can say, I'm going to stay in front of you when it counts and stop you. Houston does not have their best perimeter defender is Chris Paul. And if Chris Paul has that range, that's a problem.
Yeah. And I think when it's all said and done for me, Golden State still coming out the West. There's not a team good enough to beat them in the league, in my opinion. Especially and when it comes to the West, Denver looks good. They can put up points and bunches as well. Houston, Portland, but I think it's still going to be Golden State Warriors versus whoever wins out of the East, man.
I feel like the only guy in the room that didn't drink the Kool-Aid. I feel like the only guy in the room. I walk in the room and everybody's partying. I'm saying, well, why is everybody partying? Why is everybody so happy?
Hey,
Because I didn't drink the Kool-Aid. I just don't see it this year. Not yet.
hey, I'll make sure I'll bring you a cup, man.
Like
I'll
you
make,
said,
I'll,
they
I'll make sure I bring you a cup.
switch. They might, like you said, they might turn the switch. Ugh.
Man, it's the one team in this generation that can, man. And like I said, I'll have a nice fresh glass for you, bro.
I love
It will be switched over to let's finish with some baseball, man. So some news, you know, I'm a baseball head, man.
it. Sure.
Bryce Harper's back. I saw something interesting the other day with him. I'll get to in a minute, but King Felix in Seattle's a little upset, man. Felix Hernandez not for almost 10 straight years. He's been the opening day starter. Not gonna happen this year, and it looks like he's actually at the bottom of that rotation.
You know what? A rotation at the end of the day with an average King Felix makes him the best end of the rotation guy in baseball.
Exactly, but he is gonna have to pitch better, man. My man was like 8-14 with a 5.5 ERA last year. That's not good. And I get it; it's the American League. You're not dealing with the DH. You're dealing with the DH, so you're dealing with some pretty good lineups.
Right.
He does have to throw better. I think there's a reason he's gonna be their 4 or 5 starter.
He has to figure out righties. To me, righties that were dominant power pitchers, when they get older and lose that oomph on a fastball, lose that velocity, they don't learn how to pitch. Lefties, though, that were dominant power pitchers, they seem more adapt to learn how to pitch, right?
The game's really made for lefties, man, hitters and pitchers.
They hit their corners right, location. They know how to use that change up and still have that. They might not have that upper 90s fastball, but they got a 92, 93 mile per hour fastball.
Right.
But like an 86, 85, 84 change up. They got a little slide piece in there to keep the hitters off balance.
Right.
You look at guys like CC. CC was a dominant power pitcher.
Right.
He just started pitching the last 2 seasons. To me, the last 2 seasons to me showed like, no, this guy's not. It's not just talent. Just throw the ball out there and they can't hit it anyway. Right.
Right. And that's what you end up getting in baseball. Sometimes you just have a thrower, and then you guys have guys that can pitch. They can use all 17 inches. They move it in. They move it out. They think it. They back you off the plate. And I think that's a good point, man, because when it comes to King Felix, he was a power righty. He threw hard. Right. He was a thinker. He had a pretty good breaking ball, which he's been working on this spring. But he's getting banged up this spring too, man. And he even said it himself. He's not surprised that he's not going to be the opening day. What do you want me to say? I mean, kind of in his feelings a little bit, which I get. But if he is going to be a good pitcher for them, he's going to have to do exactly what you said. He's going to have to learn to use his other pitches because the breaking ball hasn't been where it was. The sink isn't as effective when he doesn't throw as hard as he once did.
Right.
He's kind of just a guy now.
Or he has to do what Roger Craig, refer to your Giants for a minute, your older Giants. He has to do what Roger Craig used to do with older pitchers. Roger Craig, always an older pitcher that was once dominant and then came to him, he'd teach them another pitch. Yeah. He'd add a pitch to their repertoire at the end of their career. It's like you have to use something that they've never seen before. If they're banging you around, your only option is let's teach you something else. Back then it was the split finger.
Right.
He resurrected a lot of people's careers just on the fact he showed them how to throw the split and control it. Right. I don't know what pitch that is for Felix. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not a pitcher either. And I think that's what's going to be tough for him, man. Getting up in there in age, he doesn't throw as hard as he did. If he doesn't find something, he could find himself out of baseball. He's getting a lot of money for this last year of his contract. I would think about 25, 26 million.
But here's the thing: a dominant power pitcher, if he can change his mindset,
right?
You know this. The young players, they practice hitting a fastball. So you 100 miles an hour, it doesn't move, they're just going to get knocked out the park.
Oh, it's getting hit.
Right? If it has no movement, it's going to get hit. But what do the young players usually struggle with?
Breaking ball, man.
balls, off-speed pitches. They usually struggle with that stuff, especially if they're located properly, right? Vice versa. Now, the older a player hitter gets, now you have to pass them because his bat speed, unless he's taking something, i.e., never mind, but unless he's taking something, right, his bat speed can't catch up to the fastball. So a brilliant, he's going to put that in somebody's backyard every day. So that's what I'm saying. Felix and these older guys are going to have to learn how to actually pitch.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting season for them too, because I mean, even that division in itself, Seattle does look like a team. They lost Paxton, and they have who is it? James Paxton. James Paxton went to New York, so when you when you look at that rotation, man, it's subpar with Felix at the bottom. It could be a long season for them, man.
It could be. It could be. It very well could be.
Right. You look at another player that used to be in Seattle. Adam Jones looks like he's about to get a 1-year contract to play in Arizona, man, which is needed for them because I know Gerard Dyson just got hurt. He's their speed guy. They're trying to platoon middle infielder, shortstop, second baseman, Ketel Marte. They're trying to kind of convert him to center field like they did with D. Brown over in Seattle.
Right.
Who's a middle infield guy. He's now playing some outfield. They still have Steven Souza there, still have David Peralta. But Adam Jones is a good pickup for them, and I think it's a much-needed bat, especially with a guy like Goldschmidt. Paul Goldschmidt is now in St. Louis, which was a great pickup for them. But Adam Jones, a veteran presence. I think he's probably going to play all 3 positions. They're looking at rotating the 4 guys, especially right now while Dyson's hurt.
I think Adam Jones is, up until last year, in my opinion, Adam Jones was the second best defensive center fielder in Major League Baseball. Up until last season. Mike Trout being number 1, obviously, right? Right. But Adam Jones, he can still go get the balls. He can still, oh my God, if it's not hit out of the park, he can still go get it.
Yep, probably going to come down with it, man.
It's probably going to come down with it.
And that's a big yard. Most of the ones in the
out of the park, not just over the center field, the outfield wall. You got to hit it out of the park. Otherwise, he's going to go get it.
Right. If it's not a no-doubter, he's probably going to pull it down.
Exactly. That's what I call an outstanding center fielder. Now, case in point is, now to that, he has struggled bat hitting lately, the last 2 or 3 seasons as well. A change of scenery may help.
Yep, agreed.
Change of scenery may help.
Pretty big ballpark too, man.
Yeah, I wish he had gone to a smaller stadium, but a change of scenery may help.
Yeah, I'll definitely be watching that. I think he still has some years left. He's getting up in age as well, 33 years old. But I think it's a good signing for them because I think Arizona, and you know this, it's a team that I've liked for the last probably, 2 years?
Right.
We've been talking baseball, and it's a team now that I think is, you look at that division, the Giants still don't look very good. The Rockies look good. Padres obviously added
Padres, Machado. They still
Machado. Padres added Machado. They're still trying to add pieces, but everyone probably looks at that division and still thinks LA number 1, Colorado number 2, and then you kind of have the other 3 teams, man. Maybe San Diego gets a boost with Machado, but looking at that division, they needed to add another bat. So to your point, they're gonna need him to swing it as well.
Yeah, but they can't expect him to replace Goldsmith's numbers.
Oh, not even close.
That's
because they lost they lost AJ Pollock too. He was their center fielder last year. He's gone as well.
They lost basically 40 home runs and 150 RBIs when those 2 guys left.
Yeah.
Right? Every year. That's a lot to lose for a team. For a team that doesn't hit that many home runs anyway and doesn't score that many runs. When you lose that kind of production, that's and didn't they lose the pitcher as well? Didn't the Diamondbacks? Where is
was it Zach Greinke? I think
no, not Zach. Not Zach. Who was the number 2 over there?
The
left-handed guy.
Corbin.
Corbin's gone,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, they lost a lot.
Yeah, that's why I think they may be down there with my Giants, man, trying to figure out how to get some wins, bro.
They might be down there with San Diego. I think San Diego still finishes in the cellar.
Yeah, I do too. I think between those three teams, they're gonna go back and forth for who's gonna be in the bottom.
Right.
I think it's gonna come down to Colorado,
Dodgers.
and the Dodgers for that division, man. Now,
right, and the Dodgers are good to pull up mid-season trade and go grab somebody.
Yep, absolutely, man.
That's straight in their DNA every year. Who's the top free guy? Okay, you're gonna go get him.
Exactly.
What did they?
So, and they do it every year. They're gonna add the back. They're gonna add an arm. They're gonna do something to make themselves better down that stretch run, and they do almost every year.
Every single year. They like the Dodgers are the new Yankees. It's getting like All-Star break. Yeah, we need somebody.
There it is, man. Now this Bryce Harper thing I brought up, man. We can finish with this. Now, I'm a bit of a baseball purist, man. They're taking the human element out a lot, I think, of the game with the numbers and the analytics, which I brought up from time to time. But when I saw Bryce Harper, his first at bat against Toronto the other day, and it happened a few times last year, a handful of times, and I get why they do it to an extent, because baseball, they do have spray charts. We used to keep books for hitters and tendencies and all that stuff. They had 4 outfielders. The third baseman went right out to left field. So they went with 4 outfielders because he does spray it around. He's not just a pull hitter, especially when he hits to the outfield. But most of his infield hits go to the right side of the infield, second base, first base. So they moved their third baseman to the outfield, and their shortstop went on the second base side of second base. So they had 4 outfielders against him. Now, this is something that he hopes he doesn't see often, but it's every time I see it, I think, why don't they do what Anthony Rizzo from the Chicago Cubs did and just lay down a bunt?
Lay down a bunt down the third base line. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But it's like that. I get that part, but I don't, because when you have a spray chart, someone's a dead pull hitter. If the whole infield wanted to move on me, I'd lay down a bunt every time and force them to play baseball.
Yeah, but
in this case,
that's crazy.
You do have shifts. You have, and I don't see this often with the 4 outfielders, but you always see the shortstop and the third baseman at shortstop, second baseman playing basically right up the middle now. And it's just, I guess it's the way of the game, man, which is, again, last year why I loved seeing the Boston Red Sox win, when they said in an era where 225 average, 25 home runs and 71 RBIs is acceptable, we don't accept it. And I think that's why they won the World Series last year. But I know they have an analytical team too. They just rely on it. They just don't rely on it as much as some others.
Here's the thing. I think what happens is some of these guys, there's so much Hollywood. There's so much, these are the people that attract fans. Not just baseball purists are going to be fans regardless, but it's the 470-foot home run.
Right.
People excited. Non-baseball people. Because let's just be honest, right? Baseball on its own, when you compare it to like football, basketball, soccer, hockey, excitement-wise, baseball was the last one on the totem pole.
Depends who you're talking to, but agreed as a whole.
To a non-baseball purist.
Absolutely.
To somebody that doesn't love the game but likes sports, baseball of the 5 major sports is number 5 in terms of excitement. In terms of length of game, it's probably the longest game. Football is the next longest game after baseball, right?
Right.
So you have a sport where 2-1 to a baseball purist is a big game. Oh my God. But to the average fan at 2-1, it's the most boring thing that they can watch.
Right.
I could go to a game and witness Zach Greinke or Noah Syndergaard or Jacob deGrom, shout out to the Mets, throw a no-hitter, and we'll be like, yeah, we were here, and we saw this guy live throw a no-hitter. So a non-baseball fan, it's like, nobody got a hit? Like, What do you mean? And I paid money for this?
Exactly.
So guys like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, those guys bring attention to baseball, which baseball needs. Because unfortunately, guys like you and I, baseball purists, they are few and far between now.
Right.
Right? You hear baseball, and when you see a baseball fan, you can tell because you start asking questions about the team that he or she supposedly likes, and they don't even know the second star player. They only know the star player.
Right.
Okay, so you're a bandwagon guy. So baseball needs those guys to get fans, get butts and seats. So they're gonna have to do something where I don't know, where they may not allow shifting or the mentality of the hitter. Like I think about professional hitters, Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs, professional hitters.
Right.
They hit the ball where the defense wasn't. Right. So you put a shift on Wade Boggs, he do just like you said. You hit it down the third base line or lay a bunt down the third base line. And I'm gonna do that every time I get up until you go back to where
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But for a guy like Bryce Harper, for him to lay down a bunt every time, they're not paying him to bunt. They're paying him to knock and run.
That's
So
true.
although he might end up hitting by laying down bunts, he might hit 300 for the first time in his career, or 320 or whatever it is.
Right.
But if he's only driving in 60 RBIs that year and he only hit 15 home runs, well, that's a bad year.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You get runners on base, you can't really do it. So yeah, I think it just comes down to how you look at it, man. It's like, again, and I'm a purist. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm accepting the game because they're talking about basically a shot clock. They want to put the pitchers on the time, how often you have to throw a pitch, and I'm like, there's so many small things in between pitches that people don't realize. Which again, to the non-purists, like, why are they taking so long? Why doesn't he just throw? Why doesn't he get in the batter's box? Why is his coach giving him so many signs?
Right.
Those are the things that you're literally changing the way the game is played for the fan. And I get it to a certain extent. It's for the fans. It's on TV. They're coming to the park to see it. But you're still playing a game that has been around for quite a long time, and you just completely taking a human element. And I get machines. They're trying to have machines help the umpires call balls and strikes. We've already seen the K zone there, but
Right.
I feel like 10 years from now, there's not going to be an umpire behind home plate. You know what I mean?
You said 10 years from now?
Hey, it might be less, right?
I'm thinking like 3. Serious. I'm thinking 3 to 5. You know why? Because they're not, for the first time, probably ever, baseball is no longer the only thing smoking. They're competing. They used to be because they're the only summer sport. They're the only true summer sport. Hockey and basketball end before summer, right before summer starts, or right as it starts. Football ends in the winter, right? Basketball, right? So soccer is kind of year round for the most part, depending on where you live. But for the first time ever, baseball is now competing with the other sports in terms of fans.
Right.
And because they're recognizing it and it's starting to affect their bottom line. Think about it. That's why last year when the MLB, I mean, he shouldn't have said it in public, but when the MLB president said Mike Trout should be doing a little bit more since he's our marquee player in regards to advertising himself, when you ask a kid now, most even an adult, about their favorite athlete, it's usually a football or basketball player.
Right.
A baseball player, the only baseball player they might know is a Mike Trout or a Bryce Harper.
Right. Jose Altuve, something like that. Yeah.
If they know Jose Altuve, they either live in Houston or they love baseball. The average person has no idea who Jose Altuve is unless they see it. Who's that short guy playing baseball? Who's that guy? Right? They have no idea who he is. Right? So when you're relegated to saying Bryce Harper or Mike Trout, now they know Manny Machado because he's getting so much money. Not because he's so popular, but because he's been in the news. When you're looking at that, baseball out of the four American sports, baseball, football, basketball, and hockey, right? Baseball is now number 3. And it may be number 4 because hockey
It's big.
is big. So it might be number 4. When it used to be for most of the year, baseball was either number 1 or number 2. Football always was number 1 when September came. Always. From September through, and maybe in October when baseball, the World Series was around, football might win to number 2. But because it's once a week and it's on a Sunday, and they would never play a baseball game on a Sunday, like a playoff game on a Sunday during the daytime, it was always Sunday evening. Football probably maintained its number 1 stature. Baseball was number 2.
Right.
NBA playoff start, championship game start. Well, the NBA championship is still, when the playoff starts, because the playoff starts in April, baseball starts in April. So, a lot of baseball fans don't really watch baseball in April. They don't start. Baseball official kickoff is Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just like basketball, the official kickoff is really Christmas. That's when it starts getting exciting. You got all of the nonsense out of the way, all of the bad baseball, the bad base running, the errors. You probably got all that stuff out of the way by now. But they've never competed with anybody. This is the first time ever that they had competition. And that's why they're making all these adjustments, because they're trying to get fans.
Right. And that's definitely what it looks like, man. We're gonna be watching that close, man, because I'm excited for it to get started here in just a couple weeks, man. And we got plenty coming up. Make sure you guys are tuning in weekly to Seek1st and Towles. We're gonna be here weekly. We have March Madness coming up. I know that I have my eyes, and you have your eyes on our young UNC Tar Heels, and see how they're gonna do and pan out this year. Looking forward to that as well. I know we got more coming. Keep it locked here. CHHTS Network. Make sure you're following us on CHHTS. If you're interested in sponsoring or having ads run on the show, hit us up on Instagram, CHHTS Network. You can hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter, and we'll be able to respond to you there. Thank you guys once again for listening in. Towles has been good as usual, bro.
Yes, sir. Same here, brother.
Indeed. I'll get with you soon, baby.
Sure.
Go. If you're not already doing so, follow us on social media at CHHTS Network and grow the heck up. If you like to get in contact with myself or Towles directly, I can be reached at Seek1st Sports. That's SEEK, the number 1 ST Sports. And you can reach Mr. Towles at Mr. That's MR Towles, TOWLES. We will also be running ads on the podcast. If you are interested in running an ad on the podcast, if you're interested in sponsoring, feel free to reach out to us. Hit our inbox at CHHTS Network on Instagram.